Hello YouTube, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat bringing you in another awesome video. It's Wednesday night. Normally I would be watching some SVU or maybe Arrow if it wasn't sucking tonight, but nope. Tonight is a very good night because tonight signifies the beginning of Season 2 of Lucha Underground. That's right. Last year, Lucha Underground took wrestling world by storm as a new promotion or TV series, if you want to talk about it in that sort of terms, coming out of the El Rey Network. I love El Rey Network. I watch it a lot for old kung fu movies and cult classic films. Now, for anyone who is not familiar with Lucha Underground, it's the premise. It's an hour-long show featuring Lucha Libre wrestling. Well, primarily focused around Lucha Libre wrestling. It has a lot of famous luchador stars, as well as a few indie stars, and some stars that you may recognize from their time in both WWE and TNA, respectively. Lucha Underground sets itself apart from WWE in its production values are more focused around storytelling. It feels more cinematic than the more reality-based stories told by the WWE and TNA. But yeah, it's pretty significant in that. So anyway, last year's season ended on something of a cliffhanger at Ultima Lucha. We crowned new Trios champions. For those of you who don't know, Trios champions are a team of 3. The defending champs were Ivelisse, Angelico, and Son of Havoc, but they lost their belts to the Disciples of Death. We saw the crowning of the first ever Gift of the Gods champion in Phoenix. Let's see. We also had the resolution of the story, the climax of the storyline that I've been gushing about for months on end on not only this channel but in podcasts such as CMG's Wrestling Reviews and the WrestleCast with Matty J and TWK. This match, the Zero Mero match between Pentagon Jr. and Vampiro, yes, that Vampiro, which I call one of my favorite matches of 2015, and we crowned a new Lucha Underground champion as Mil Muertes defeats the first and reigning champion, Prince Puma, ending his nearly year-long reign as the first Lucha Underground champion. And at the end of that season, it appeared that Lucha Underground would not be coming back because storyline-wise, Dario Cuerno, the owner of the temple where Lucha Underground takes place, abandoned the place for he feared that there was some guys coming after him. So everything was put up in the air. But anyway, tonight is the season premiere of Lucha Underground. Can they match or even surpass the epicness and awesomeness that was the first season of Lucha Underground? I got my notes. Let's get started. First, in typical Lucha Underground fashion, they focus more on the story. Like, we open with Vampiro, I'm sorry, I had a little burp in my throat. Vampiro. As we saw as if you didn't know, Vampiro is a commentator alongside Matt Striker. And he got into a storyline with one of the luchadors, Pentagon Jr., who made it his mission to break arms of everyone around him for his mysterious master. The two of them had a unbelievably bloody and brutal Zero Mero match, and it was revealed that Vampiro was Pentagon Jr.'s mysterious master. So, we open with him several months later in some kind of psychiatric institute where apparently he's had some kind of violent episodes or what have you. And his doctor was giving him medicine to tell him to avoid anything that might cause him to have violent outbursts. And transition outside to the person picking him up is his friend and brother, Matt Striker. One of the greatest color commentators you will ever see inside the United States. And yes, I'm talking about you, JBL, Cole, Byron, and King. Striker's better. So, Vampiro says where they're gonna go. They've been called back to the temple, but it's not by Dario Cuerno. No, there is a new owner of the temple, and according to Matt Stryker, there's a dark cloud over this temple. And so we find out that Catarina, the manager and handler for the Lucha Underground champion Mil Muertes, is now in firm control of the temple and controls everything now. So yeah, that's what he meant by that dark feeling, that dark cloud over the temple. We also get a scene where she talks to her former associate and the current Gift of the Gods champion, Phoenix. Now, the Gift of the Gods champion has the right to challenge the Lucha Underground champion. That's why that title is so important. Now, she says that he will defend his belt against his challenger, King Cuerno. He's a luchador who's more like a vicious hunter than anything else. He comes to the ring wearing a buckskin hat full with a giant buck head on his head. So anyway, we transition to the first of 3 matches tonight. Sorry it's not more, but it's only an hour long. There's only so many matches you can cram into it, but they make it work. First matchup is King Cuerno versus Phoenix for the Gift of the Gods title. This was a pretty good matchup. I've always enjoyed King Cuerno, and Phoenix has always amazed me with his in-ring ability. This match was awesome in and of itself. But alas, after an epic 20-minute matchup, Phoenix is dethroned as Gift of the Gods champion, with the new champion being King Cuerno. But it appears that he and Catarina have some kind of deal going on between themselves. You never know. Anyway, we cut back to the temple, where the former trios champions, Son of Havoc, Angelico, and Ivelisse, have returned to the temple. Now I don't understand something. Ivelisse is a chick, and yes, one of the great things about Lucha Underground is the chicks can wrestle the dudes. There is no divas division or no women's division. If a woman wants to throw down with a dude, they can throw down with a dude. So yeah. And I call this the most dysfunctional team in wrestling today, because these 3 did not get along and they were just thrown together at the last second by Dario Cuerno, aka Mexican Vince McMahon. And surprisingly, they became Trios champions, until they lost their belts at Ultima Lucha to the Disciples of Death, who work for Catarina and Mil Muertes. They confront Catarina and tell her that they want their belts back. She says that they will not get their shot at those belts, but tonight they will face off against each other, and the winner will go on to face Mil Muertes for the Lucha Underground title. So we segue to our second match, Angelico versus Havoc, or Son of Havoc, versus Ivelisse. This is a great match. They pulled no punches against Ivelisse, and she put on a clinic. And when you're in the ring with these 2 guys who I really, really like, Son of Havoc and Angelico, that's saying something. Surprisingly, Ivelisse pulls off the win, pinning Angelico. And so we segue into our final match, Ivelisse versus Mil Muertes for the Lucha Underground title. And this marks the first time ever in Lucha Underground history that a woman will challenge for the main title. But unfortunately, before the match gets started, Catarina calls upon the Disciples of Death to remove Havoc and Angelico from the equation, leaving Ivelisse alone with the man of 1,000 deaths. This was a very solid matchup, and I felt it could have gone a little bit longer, but Ivelisse showed that she really deserved to be in the ring. There were a few moments I actually thought she was going to really win. But nope. Mil Muertes pulls out the victory. And like always, Catarina orders him to do some more pain and destruction. But she is saved by the former Lucha Underground champion, Prince Puma, who still has some issues with Mil Muertes. That was expected. What happened next was completely unexpected, as Mil Muertes was attacked by Pentagon Jr., and who then proceeds to not only beat him down, but break his arm. And Vampiro looked on, either in shock or horror. So something must have happened between master and apprentice. It's going to be very interesting. See, it's going to be very interesting to find out what exactly happened between them that required Vampiro to undergo psychiatric evaluation. But yeah, that was the season premiere of Lucha Underground. Oh, by the way, I forgot one. There was a small little storyline going on where these three guys were looking for the temple, and they run into that Asian chick who fled with Dario Cuerno. When they find him, he allows them to go into his own temple, and they ask, "Wait, who's fighting?" "You are," and locks him in there with his brother. We have not seen what his brother actually looks like, but we know he is a fucking monster. But yeah, that was the season premiere of Lucha Underground. My thoughts? What a way to start off a new season, LU. Once again, it shows why Lucha Underground is so highly revered by the fans and by critics alike. Once it showcased interesting storylines. The shift with Catarina and Mil Muertes basically running shop now is a big change. It's also good to see Dario Cuerno still active and doing what he does best, being a sleazy scumbag. We have a new Gift of the Gods champion with King Cuerno, and it's good to and we saw Ivelisse kicking ass like only women in Lucha Underground can do. There's a lot more going on, but unfortunately, like I said, Lucha Underground's only got enough for 1 hour. But it's still good. They pack so much in that hour, it's amazing. So that's my video. Like what you see? Link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or just want to talk more about Lucha Underground? Leave it below. I'll get back to you. You want to support the channel? Easy. The tip jar is up there. Patreon is in the description. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Captain Luffy. Captain Luffy. That's all you need to know. So, until next time, it's been shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good night, and Cero Mero.